Whoa! What was that? Magisters, what are they up to?
Yes, ma'am. I've sent out a requisition order for more munitions.
One spark and this whole damn place will blow.
I want that wall reduced to rubble. Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I've sent out a more munitions.
The Magister looks you up and down with utter dispassion.
You should not be here.
The Magister's hand reaches back for her weapon.
Intruder! You shouldn't have die.
I'll yield to none. Cornered. Almost got me that time. I need aid! Guess I know what I need to do now. impressive. A barrel filling machine for the oil, I believe.
From somewhere deep within the inner workings of the machine comes an irregular clanking sound, then a weak gurgle. Inoperable, it seems. From somewhere deep within the inner workings of the machine comes an irregular clanking sound, then a weak gurgle. Inoperable, there is a sudden shriek of grinding metal. Spark.
That's a lot of firepower to stockpile in one place.
I've seen places like this in books. Never thought I would see something like this in reality. This is the archaeological discovery of a lifetime.
What a way to die, down here in this darkness. Poor soul.
The curious sculpture, the carving is covered in strange glyphs. Trying to read the symbols, you hear a faint whispering at the back of your mind, as if you're listening to the echoes of a past age. Your mind swims, and for a moment, the glyphs become clear. You read, "Our first lords babes with power glowed, our seconds born in blood that flowed. Our thirds young to the wind return, our fourths to glowing flames adjourn." Our fifth lord's cubs with minds were blessed. Our sixths had brawn beyond the rest. Our seventh's brood spread from earth to glen, and thus no king shall rise again. You try to hold your focus as the whispering echo fades, but the letters waver, contorting and merging until they're nothing but meaningless glyphs once more.
A riddle from the past. Or maybe a riddle about the past. Delius, Duna, the stoutest of the seven. No wonder the dwarves pray to him. Blessed Zorlstissa. Zantetsa, the god of the orcs, Vrogir.
Rallic, the first of the seven. He was as bullish as Vrogir.
That's it, we're through. What in the name of Lucian's prized pig is going on here? I wonder what they did in life to deserve such a resting place.
As the creature crawls from the sarcophagus, you hear a gasp of breath. Fane steps forward, never taking his eyes off her.
I must speak to her. It is vital. Please, stand...
You hear a gasp from the creature as Fane steps forward. It speaks in a hissing, clicking language that seems both completely alien and somewhat familiar. Fane raises his head and responds in the same jolting, clicking tongue. He seems to be pleading with the creature, his hands outstretched. The creature looks down at him and shrieks in rage. Her gestures are quick, strong, and violent. Whatever she said, it seems to have devastated your friend. The verbal barrage continues, but something changes within Fane. He looks up and golden light pours from his skull. When he speaks next, you understand every word, but you're not sure the words are his own.
Aetira, Aetira. I had hoped to see you turn to dust in this tomb. Alone, forgotten, with only your secrets for comfort.
Lady Amadia? You possess him. Have you fallen so far that you seek shelter within that? Does your vessel even know what you did? The war you started? The greed and avarice that saw you betray the Eternals?
The glow fades, and Fane seems to return to himself. He staggers slightly, exhausted by everything that's happened. The creature turns away from him and, panting, turns to you. The creature looks down from its perch, trembling. It crawled out of that sarcophagus as if it had forgotten how to move its limbs. It turns to you, and you see its face is covered by an intricate mask.
Yes.
From behind its unmoving lips, you hear a noise. It starts as a groaning, croaking chatter, but slowly becomes more distinct. It's speaking.
Mais Saravel te de larontu, Chamery?
The stream of noise cuts off abruptly. After a moment, you hear a jolting, lurching voice.
It wears the face of Zol Stissa, but speaks the tongue of beasts. How cruel. I suspected the Seven Lords won the war after they locked me here, but seeing their faces on dumb creatures, fascinating. So quick to anger. It has the outward appearance of one of our kind, but underneath it is so very primitive. Perhaps this is to be expected when creation is left to 7 amateurs. The king would never have been so sloppy in his work.
Deep within your soul, you feel your god stirring at the sound of the voice. You can feel its anger and fear swelling inside you. The creature leans forward to get a better look at you, clucking and tutting under her breath.
It seems to be a simple form at its core, a sauce vat. A walking, unfortunately talking, sauce vat. Fascinating. I wonder how to extract the sauce from the vessel without...
She pulls back suddenly, recoiling in horror.
It is rotting. Almost imperceptibly, but it decays before my eyes. It must have no more than a century or 2 left.
The god within you reacts. Her emotions a cocktail of fury and fear. You hear her voice, demanding that you give her control, demanding your body obey her will.
An Eternal does not answer questions from whatever creatures happen to lumber into view. Especially when there is so much to be learned about their source. What happens to it, I wonder? Does it lie in whatever ditch it falls in, as its body decays? Or... no, of course. It is harvested.
The god thrashes against your control. You can feel it hissing that this creature is dangerous, that it cannot be trusted.
To have had the technology of the Eternals, and made this. How crude. Although effective in its own way. Poor creature. Created for a sole purpose, and yet so ignorant of its function. It is a tool to collect source, until it is ready to be collected. Most likely, and given that face, I can well imagine who your creator may be. What a lazy way to feed one's power, and one's ego.
You start to speak, but it's too late. Zol Stissa breaks free, and the voice that emerges from your mouth is not quite your own.
A terror you worm. An eternity locked away was too good for you. I should have seen you ground to dust and fed to the wind.
The figure recoils, as if struck.
Zol Stissa? What happened to you? Did you truly fall so far?
Silence. It is your king that has fallen. He and all the other eternal cowards were flung into the void. and the power you were too scared to hunt has made me a god.
And yet, here you stand. Small, weak, decaying. I will not even need the Aetheran to grind you into the dust.
You feel your guard freeze at the mention of this Aetheran, a cold terror settling in your chest.
The beast's unruly passenger did not deign to tell it. She did not want her host to know. I crafted a weapon that would leave her an eternal once more.
You feel your god thrashing against your control. Where? You croak in a voice not quite your own.
Ha! Of course you never found it. You always lacked imagination, my lady. I hid it in these very caves, although I can feel its distance now. Someone has uncovered it. Perhaps they intend to flay the godliness from you. No matter. Given your pathetic state, it is mine to collect at my leisure. As for you, you monstrosity, you were designed to be defective. You were built to die. And I rather think it is time you fulfilled your function. But do not fear. I shall put your sauce to good use.
You're not trying to escape, are you?
Just when I think this land holds no more surprises, I find myself in some place even more dismal than the last. Still, at least this is an interesting variation on dismal. I could be worse. I mean, I could have spent several millennia in the clutches of the Void, so... Thank you. That means... something. The Eternals. They're not gone. Or, they are. But they're not dead. They're in the Void. The Seven threw them to the Void. They damned them to that. To an eternity of torment. And they did it in my name. They did it because of me. Aren't I? If you open the gate and let a mad dog loose, are you not responsible if it savages a child? I gave them my research on the Veil. I gave them a prize to snatch from the king. Worse, I gave them a weapon to use against their own people. The source of the Veil would have made them unimaginably powerful. And their theft left enough of a crack for the Void to pour in. Every wickedness visited on my people. Every evil that stalks this land. It was my fault. True or not, it makes no difference. I did what I did, and my people suffered for it. But if I am to honor their memory, I cannot sit here and mope. I must go on for them, for my family. My loved ones may be gone. The Seven may be corrupt, but I remain. The last true Eternal must survive. And perhaps, just perhaps, I can find a way to bring my people back.
Fane grips you by the arm, his hands strong.
Come, Godwoken. There is work to be done.
Those Magisters are about to become popcorn. I could help them.
Redeem yourself. Help us, friend.
I'm ready!
The Magister wipes his blooded face with a grimy rag as he strides towards you. Eyes narrowing with suspicion, he halts several feet away, one hand on the hilt of his weapon.
And you are? Nice try. I guess you prefer to answer the hard way. And I'll pose the same question to you as I did to the Voidwoken.
Glory is mine.
Staff of Divinity! What an incredible discovery!
The little rat squeaks up at you inquisitively, beady little eyes full of something approximating intelligence.
Are you a poet? Do you know it? Do I show it? I write a rhyme in my spare time. It's about a bird, but I need a word.
He eyes you shrewdly, then sniffs with judgment.
Not what I was looking for. Now I'll bid you good day, boar.
Over there, on the tables. Those are my people's tablets.
The unusual tablet is marked on all sides with runic inscriptions that look like they were hacked into indecipherability with a chisel or similar instrument. As your fingertips trace these mutilated runes, your eyes flicker closed of their own accord. You see nothingness, vast, dark, and empty. You sense something ancient watching you, perusing you like a prison guard would watch a wayward ant scuttling across the floor of a cell. From within the endless emptiness, a voice hums into being and calls to you, God-woken. You sense an interest within the cold voice addressing you. Beyond the interest, you sense fangs, voracious hunger, a bottomless appetite that no sustenance could ever sate. You see your life flash before your eyes, every memory flitting by like a moth's wings at a lantern. The vision reaches the present moment and diverges into multiple strands, impossible to keep track of. Your brain aches with the effort of trying to keep up with the intelligence as it sifts through your every potential future. You see salvation and destruction and every shade of existence in between. And all of a sudden, it's over. Blackness rises once more, just as it was at the start. Eternal darkness and you. An electric feeling pulses in your fingertips, and a force field of some kind pushes you away from the tablet.
That was some kind of test. I'm really not sure whether I passed or failed.
The tablet seems to glow from within with a subtle light. Etched runes cover its surface. The markings feel familiar, but you have no idea what they mean. Your fingertips burn so hot, it feels like they are melting. An energy seems to travel between the tablet and your hands, sparking knowledge directly into your mind, as if you're reading with your fingers. Electrical sensations sizzle in your mind. You understand that the runes are ancient Rivellonian, the oldest known language. You feel the fragments under your fingers, An Lesru. You know not how, but you understand the meaning of these words with the very marrow of your being. One must rise. Then your fingers grow cold to the bone. Suddenly, you are just a person standing in a cavern, clinging to a stone tablet as if it were a life raft.
Just when I think this land holds still. At least this is an interesting variation on Dismal. Do what you want. What does it matter? My people are gone. Worse than gone. It's all pointless. I always thought my path was laid out. Become divine. Preserve what's left of your people. It was such an easy narrative. But what if you could do more? What if you could save them all? And worse, what if you had all that power, but they were not worth saving? I don't know. Tell me, what would you do?
Fane nods slowly, lost in thought.
You're not entirely wrong. Then again, thank you. I will have to think on this.
I've spotted something.
I've never seen anything like this workmanship.
The stone relic pulls on your consciousness. You feel the tendrils of an ancient hunger trespassing within your soul, seeking something you have. Source. As your fingertips brush the cool stone, you feel the depths of your being crack open. Your power flows from you into the relic, yet a reverse current flows back into you with a new power, a different power. A sharp electrical shock repels your hands from the stone and sends you staggering backwards. The stone relic pulls on your consciousness. The stone relic pulls...